Good afternoon, everybody, and welcome to the New England Summer Cup for 2026, live here at One Up Games. My name is HBBow64, and I'm joined here by the wonderful So Abdenam on the cast here. We are officially a year out since Mario Kart World's release, and it's time to see what the best of the best in Mario Kart in the Northeast have planned here for this tournament.
Yeah, we finally got a look. A lot of the mechanics have been figured out. A lot of shortcuts have been found. And competitors have stepped into the arena to take some of the limelight away from Mario Kart World. But I do think it's, look, it's got its fan base, it's got its diehard group, and they are here in Massachusetts looking for more, including some familiar faces that if you watch us, if you've seen the other cups, you've seen these faces, but, also just faces that if you've been around the Mario Kart scene, you probably should recognize a couple of them.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, Val and Ember, they've been mainstays in the Mario Kart scene, whether you're in 8 Deluxe or you're in Mario Kart World. Val, in particular, got second place in the Knockout Tour in the New England Winter Cup. Ember finished top 5 in the New England Winter Cup in the normal standings. Squash, 4th place in the New England Summer Cup last year, back when the game first released. And you also have William Prix, the reigning champion of the New England Cups, winning the Winter Cup, obviously, earlier this year. So you have some tight competition here. It's going to be interesting to see how these players are able to take up the mantle.
Yeah, as I say, don't let the small field fool you. There's a lot of talent here, including one of those kinds of unknowns. We were looking at the previous winner from the Anime Boston Mario Kart World event, also arrived here. So, sometimes the size of the event doesn't necessarily make it a big deal. The talent here is among the best in New England.
Yeah, definitely. It's going to be interesting to see how these players are able to adapt to this sort of setting. Again, only 7 players, but still there's a lot of talent here in this small field, so anything can happen. And we've seen massive upsets before. Yeah. We've seen at PeoriaCon, players who have never made their stride in the professional scene come out and win their first tournament. So everything's on the line here. It's going to be interesting to see what these players have in store for them and which one's going to be coming out on top here in our normal Grand Prix tournament. For a recap of the rules here, as we're about to get in, you obviously see we have 16 normal races that we're going to be going. That includes intermissions. As much as everybody here hates to hear that, but sometimes it can be an advantage, especially with the most recent changes they've been making to the game. And after those 60 races, we'll have a bonus knockout tour to determine a points multiplier.
As I say, the knockout tour is incredibly relevant. You might think, oh, it's just a little bonus thing, a little extra money. We've had entire tournaments upset because of that. And we do have our first course in. We will be headed out to the faraway Oasis. So lots of animals, lots of stuff in the way, but lots of things you can trick off of, lots of places to get grind and speed. So I like this. This is a good pick off of the first opener.
Yeah, definitely. This is a track that has also been really developing since the beginning of since Mario Kart World. New strategies have been found on this track, so we'll see if any of them come into play. But we are going to see one thing come into play as we start off the map here. One of the big new changes, yes, that is a triple mushroom that Squash just pulled in second. One of the more recent changes in the most recent update allows you to pull power items in the first box of the race. In the first 20 seconds, everyone pulls the exact same items, or they can at least pull power items, so everyone has the same rate. After 20 seconds, you go back to normal items, as we see Ember here getting an Ice Flower and Triple Green in 7th place. So those first 20 seconds could make or break a game. It encourages front running, as we see William Prix currently doing.
Yeah, and that's kind of the thing about it, is you used to see a lot of players hold back and maybe just try to get those items and win by racing. Super Racer, unfortunately, going to go ahead and take the front. We'll use that shroom to get around and cut the line there. Still close in the top 3. With items now getting up to power levels, we should start seeing those high-value items coming online. So with the pack still close together, it's still fairly open on racing.
Can make our way back up to the loop, up to the jump here, making our way over to the river here. It's still William out in front. Again, the reigning champion here in the New England Cups. Squash currently on their tail, who didn't make it to the Winter Cup, but is trying to make it. Unfortunately, does miss that jump, as you mentioned. Not able to get on the rail, so has to go for the Riverway, which is a little bit slower here. But still trying to make a close advance. Will get hit by that red shell, but is going to be able to recover with the mushroom.
It's interesting because William Prix now pulling away, if you check that mini-map, pulling away in that lead with Toadette. I mean, it's kind of what you expect from our previous winner, just to be able to do that with Val. Holding on, we'll get the Kamek out, and this will get a little bit of a distraction, but with William so far away, and probably at this point pretty well defended, it's going to be hard to take him off that lead.
Yeah, final lap here on Faraway Oasis. William Prix, the front charging Chuck there, currently running away, just hitting these tricks perfectly. This is what I talked about when I talk about this track. Being so good, being so, being so adaptable, such a big track that's seen so many changes over the course of the game's history. So William Prix looking pretty much locked up in that first position, but the fight is going to be on here for second through third. Super Racer currently holding on to this second place. One mushroom could make their day. That's exactly what they're going to get here. They're going to be able to take this cut right at the end to be able to secure that second place. Barely dodging the banana there, but it's a fight for third right now. It looks like the bomb going to be stopping Liam right at the line. Squash gets third. Ember able to secure a fourth place position, and I believe Liam going to have to settle for fifth at the end of that. Thou rounding out with 6, and then OUG7, who is going to be Scoot here on the lineup in 7th.
Yeah, I mean, it's hard to say much from, the individual race. We've only seen one so far, Bowsy, so it's hard to sit and say, there's like a really dominant force. We know how everything's going to play out with 16 to go, but I do think William Prix really just kind of, ran away with it. It's a familiar map, like you said, so I do think that they just kind of ran away with, what they were looking for. We'll wait as the next set of maps come into play, but I think if we do see continuously William Prix just kind of get out in the lead and take that, pretty consistently, he's a good player. He knows what he's doing. He's raced at high levels like this. If he just continues to kind of dominate like this, he'll go back the 2-time champion. But that's still an hour plus away.
Yet to see what our next track is going to be here. Some of these could be intermissions as well, which you have to be careful about. Well, so we're going to be going to Peach Beach, and I believe this will be an intermission to Peach Beach. That's exactly what it's going to be. First intermission. We already have a lot of people groaning here in the stands. But again, the intermissions have started to get a lot more development ever since the game release. You would look at an intermission, baby, on like the first week of the game and think, oh.
Yeah.
But now people have been able to know how these shortcuts are done. And yes, we're going to see Ember back up here. But again, those item changes make it so that everyone in front of you is also going to get power-up items to the point where you're just going to pull a single mushroom in 7th. You have the same rate of pulling that single mushroom as the guy in first.
Yeah.
So it's not a big difference here. It's going to be interesting to see how these players are able to take these sort of intermissions, though, because the smuggling strategy is only good after 20 seconds, which at that point, you're pretty much already halfway to lap number 1's finish.
Yeah, and like you had said as we leave the Oasis here, it's interesting. It does change how you want to play this. Being in that front does get a little bit harder to hold, as we'll see a lot of this still contesting here with Liam in 5th. The rest of the pack is still around, and like you said, once we land into the track proper, that's where I think the real kind of racing is going to begin. We're going to see who's holding on to items and who managed to just kind of play safe until then. Again, William Prix was just very quickly in that front position, a little bit farther here. So sometimes maybe choosing the intermissions in those maps gives you an advantage in the bigger picture.
You see Squash currently leading the field. Val in 2nd place here. Going to chuck that red shell out to the leader. Not going to be able to hit them, though, as they probably have protection here. But you got to be careful. This blooper actually being very effective. Not being able to see these cataquacks that can actually damage you and put you in a tough bind here as we make our way over to Peach Beach. It'll be interesting to see now as we head into the actual track. Has everyone been saving their power items? We see some people with mushrooms. Super Racer has a mushroom in their hand. Val currently has a pretty good item set here in the front. Double banana circulating them and has protection as well. But Squash also has a super horn. That could just deny all of those bananas if they're able to get close enough.
I was going to say, this is going to be a very particular great boost into that. That's exactly what I was thinking was going to happen. The Squash going to try to do that. They did pull a triple mushroom to back up here. The ink will be a bit of a distraction as we round these corners. But that's a great bit of protection going into this, especially with the pack still very close behind them.
Yeah, the pack not too far away right now as Squash makes their way over through this section here of Peach Beach. Just trying to continue forward. William Prix, meanwhile, has his mushroom. Going to be going through the cut there. I believe that was Scoot trying to make their way over. The hammer's going on to Squash as well. William Prix takes the lead here on the final lap of Peach Beach. This long water section with a large U-turn at the end.
Yeah, that was a great little Dutch there. I was kind of hoping that maybe William Prix, wouldn't show the strength here, but definitely did. But the pack's still close. Liam will take the boomerang there. And with Super Racer trying to catch up, getting a little bit caught in the water, it comes down to these last couple items to make a pass.
Ember with the Mega Mushroom making their way up, though. The Golden Shroom as well. Ember being able to save those power items for when they were needed the most. But now comes this hairpin. You got to be careful about this because then you could go a little bit too far and hit the wall. Ember might have been a little bit too soon on that as there are players right behind them trying to catch up to the lead. But right now, Ember, one mushroom in hand, trying to make their way up. And here comes Super Racer, hits the drag banana at the worst possible time. Does get the snipe onto Liam, and the green shell hit onto the oven toad edge. Super Racer manages second of that with a chaotic ending to Peach Beach.
They used to tell you this was the game of RNG, and in some ways we still get that, Bouncy, and I love that game for this. That does bring a No, that's not Scoot. Scoot is 1, I believe.
Yeah, it's gonna be Super Racer who's on setup 10. So
the Super Racer, again, coming off of that win from Anime Boston, that's a great bit of luck for them. You know, you can. That's the thing about the intermissions, though, Bowsy, is like you can run that whole race perfectly fine, save your atoms correctly, do everything right, and still just kind of at the end, in the middle of the chaos, in the middle of the fury, just kind of lose it all. So going into round 3, nothing exciting to talk about. We'll start to see the balance out a little bit over time, but it looks like it's almost time for Rainbow Road.
We could see some Rainbow Road here. Someone has been adamant about picking the Rainbow Road, and that's exactly what we're going to get here.
Crazy.
Get ready for the 4-minute marathon, everybody. It's time for Rainbow Road.
Crazy. So early in the day, too. You know, usually you try to save this one for later. We won't likely see it again because of the picking penalties, but this is going to be this is a marathon, like Bowsy said there. This is going to be a marathon as opposed to the short sprint. So using your items and making sure you get value out of them is going to be so important.
So we'll see who's able to get the advantage here on Rainbow Road. Super Racer going to get the items first here. He's going to be able to pull that triple mushroom, which is, again, huge at this sort of new balance update. You know what else is big? Just getting ghosts. 2 boos at the beginning of that race. William Cree was one of them, and another one stole Super Racer's triple mushroom. And now William Cree, look at this protection. 4 green shells in their hand right now in first place. That's the benefit of this new update. It rewards front running at the beginning. You're not smuggling as much, which can be harmful if you're a diehard smuggler, not looking at some people in particular on YouTube, but regardless of which, it does allow for a lot more front running in Mario Kart World.
And that's a different style. We're all learning. Like you talked about the evolution of the game since its release a year ago, Bowsy. It has been quite a growth of the game and quite changes in the play. But again, we're not even past that first of the quarter segment. So items will start coming in, and Scoot in 7th here still has a lot of time to go, but just kind of has to navigate this course a little bit safely, trying to maybe get some of those power-ups to make sure they use them correctly.
We now head into the skies, through to the seas. William Cree currently leads. Unfortunately, has lost all 4 of those green shells that they had earlier. Super Racer on their tail. We've been seeing a pretty good, consistent performance here from Super Racer here. So we'll see if they're able to keep this pressure up here as they make their way through the sky, through the seas here toward that space station.
Slowly but surely we'll get there, and the Super Racer is still hugging into 3rd place. Pack is still fairly close together, which tells you the lines and the angles of everybody is still playing very close. And Super Racer going to go and move in there behind Val on that lower track. So again, this is where just kind of good, solid racing will pay off. You have to keep your lines tight. You have to use those cuts as you can get them to your advantage.
Liam makes their way over through these winding roads here. Now Squash has found themselves up in 2nd place. Meanwhile, William Cree already on their way to the space station. And this is where these items can get very powerful because the distance between first and last is such a huge margin. We very well could see some blue shells coming out here or some power items like lightning bolts being thrown to the wind here. Right now, it doesn't look like anyone is able to find those, but still, we're seeing these boost items come up as we make our way to space station.
And like you said, those power items, the lightning and the blue shell, we should see approximately 1 to 2 of those just given the length of this. But meanwhile, in the middle of the pack up at 5th, Ember is still just kind of holding it down, trying to make sure those lengths don't get too far apart, trying to make sure they can get every small boost you can. And this is a map where those small boosts matter.
As we make our way now to this very tight corner section here, the final section of section number 3, or the final part of section number 3, I should say. Trying to make our way through these tight corners, make our way up. Val going to be using this golden mushroom to continue that advance, but at the front of the field, it's all William Cree right now as we head into the final section. And this is a tight section. You see Ember back spamming that boomerang, trying to keep themselves safe from the rest of the field here as the final lap begins on Rainbow Road. Super Racer trying to chase down William Cree right now, who's already landed on the front.
Yeah, the spacing is getting a little bit tougher, and considering we are coming up into that 8th segment, that's going to be very, very topsy-turvy. These item pulls are going to be so important. This is Super Racer's last real chance to get anything, and the green shells are okay protection, but they're not great aggressively.
But they are going to be able to get some help here with this blue shell coming out. William Cree in first, doesn't have anything to really protect against it. They're going to try to go for the items, and they get the wrong kind of box. You want the sound horn box, not so much the coin box, so they're going to throw themselves off the map here, which is faster in the aftermath. You avoid getting hit on the glider. You're able to keep yourself on the track here. The only negative is that, well, you lost 3 coins at the end of it. Super Racer just waiting for that red shell to try and hit them as they make their way forward. Another red shell coming their way here. Looks like they're going to be hit by that as well. Unfortunately, the spaz speed doesn't make them outrun here.
Ooh.
William Cree currently still leading. Squash trying to catch up here with this Mega Mushroom. If there is a Lightning Bolt, it's going to have to come now, but Squash runs out of that Mega Mushroom. Triple reds to the name, but you already see William Cree has taken the final glider of victory over to the start-finish line. They're going to back-spam Super Racer. They know how much of a threat the Super Racer is, just trying to keep them away from that top points. Because remember, Super Racer was second in points heading into this race.
Yeah, I'd say this is where we're going to start to see the strategy of just your general overall placement start to kick in. William is up at first at 21, leading the pack and a little bit higher, but Ember and Squash and I believe, what did we say that was?
Super Racer.
No, Super Racer up at 10 are going to be all pretty close. So, you know what? Even if you know that first might be out of your placement, still trying to keep yourself in the best position for second and third is still like a decent place to be. It still gets you a trophy when you finally head out the door. So going into map 4, still plenty of time and space, but we have to figure out the real answer to the problem. How do we get William Cree out of first place? Because he has just been consistently taking the head of the pack, sitting on good items, and just winning races.
Yeah, William Cree currently is the biggest threat right now to everyone in this lobby. So we'll have to see, is it going to be that total gang up, or if we're going to be seeing a sort of mixed approach? Are we going to see people trying to fight for second? Are they going to be trying to go for that first place? It'll be interesting to see as we get ready for our next racetrack, and we're going to be heading over to Toad's factory. Time to go to work, Sam.
It is time to get some work done. Lots of heavy machinery. Oh, no, it'll be an intermission to that, too. So,
okay.
Again, so, you know, like you said, a lot of people don't necessarily want to see these, but it does give us a little bit of a reprieve. We did see some of the races kind of shuffle up a little bit in this intermission, so we'll have to see if, again, we can just kind of do that. Either way, William Cree has been kind of leading the front across all of these map types, so, you know, again, it's kind of hard, especially when William's just sniping every single one of those coins out of Squash's hands. That's unfortunate.
Yeah, but the big matter is what items are going to be pulling here on that first. William pulls a Ghost in first. I mean, that's a powerful item in its own right. Just barely able to dodge it with Squash pulling that triple green shell here. And William Cree now, because they got that Ghost in first, they now have a guaranteed mushroom. Since if you use a Ghost and no one in front of you has an item, you immediately get a mushroom. So very good pull here from William Cree, trying to keep themselves up at the front of the pack. Squash right on their tail. Liam's going to be trying to throw that red shell forward, going to try to stop the momentum of Vow's going to get hit by that. But so far, it's just this long commute over to Toad's factory. A 4-lap section here. We're already down to lap number 2 then. It's
hard. The momentum in these intermissions really does kind of pick up and carry, and you can see it as we're still fighting at 1 and 2. They are in the lead, but it's still space to go, especially with William Cree now falling back into 4. Like, this is not a concern, though, if you're William. You're just going to build up coins. You're going to sit on this, trying to avoid and just build up your items the best you can, because you're ready to kind of explode when we finally reach our destination in the factory.
Val's going to get hit by that green shell from William Cree. Very good snipe coming out there as now Super Racer finds their way up to the front of the pack here. And again, we've seen this before in these intermissions. Super Racer typically goes toward the front of the intermissions and tries to make their way from there. Going to be exchanging that feather here for a new item. Unfortunately, that blue shell is going to have another thing to say about that. Super Racer going to get hit right there on the edge, and now Squash in perfect position to take that lead away with the triple mushrooms as well. So we'll see if they decide to commit to it or if they're going to wait a little bit until Super Racer is ready for their move.
We're still, again, following that sidewalk, just taking those lines as super tight as we can. You'll see William Cree just using those mushrooms to kind of keep the pathing as close to 0 as can be, because now having moved in the second behind Squash and now entering into the factory escape, this is where it gets tricky. There's a lot of rails to grind. There's a lot of known places that people will start, and William Cree probably is going to boost right off of this into the first place.
Yeah, William Cree looking for that sort of advantage. Toad's Factory has a lot of these interesting shortcuts, but it very much is a linear shortcut sort of track. You need to hit the shortcuts if you're going to find success here. And William Cree's going to hit Squash out with a green shell. Super Racer has no time to react with this Fireflower, but is going to be tossing it forward, just trying to spam out William Cree. I believe they hit them right before they hit the rail. William Cree gets knocked out of first, and now Ember's taking the lead here with a boomerang in hand.
That's a huge, huge opening for any other player. Keeping William Cree back as far as you can, especially coming into this last quarter of the lap, is so huge. There's a bit of protection for Ember. Going to have to use these mushrooms a little bit more aggressively to try to keep that lead.
William Cree currently falling back there on the mini-map. The Ice Cream Toad on the map as Ember trying to make their way forward. Here comes a blue shell from Squash. Ember has 2 mushrooms to the name. Got to dodge the blue shell with the mushroom all the way onto the cut. No special cuts necessary. Ember takes the win here on Toad's Factory. Squash will settle in for second place. William Cree returning to third after falling down so far in the pack. And that's going to shake up our standings immensely. Ember now 1 point off of the lead.
I think you have to make a notice of that, Bowsy. I think when you look at this big picture, you have to look and say, all right, we can beat William here in these intermissions. We've got a place where we can take advantage of that, and I think that needs to be something you need to utilize in your map selection. A lot of those intermissions have fallen from the randoms, but I think if you're a player right now in this pack, you have to kind of realize, look, like, William Prix has been doing very, very well on the tracks. They're obviously an accomplished player, know the tracks inside out, know the shortcuts. They probably haven't practiced these intermissions as much. I think you need to be choosing more of those if you want to maybe give yourself an advantage here.
So we'll see what the move is going to be. Squash not going to be listening to any of our advice and going right for Airship Fortress instead here.
The triple random is crazy.
Yeah, people are like, let's just pick whatever.
Let's just send it, yeah.
Let's see what Fate decides. Fate has decided, though, Airship Fortress is going to be the map selection here. It's actually going to be an intermission Airship Fortress. So different from what Squash was hoping for. Squash was just hoping for the standard Airship Fortress. So this is going to be interesting. Another intermission. We'll see if William Prix is able to recover on this, considering how much of a front-runner Airship Fortress truly is.
I do think that this, like I said earlier, I think this really does kind of work in a lot of these players' ways. You know, a lot of these players who are dedicated in the game have learned all these shortcuts, have understand the levels themselves. They're not necessarily learning these intermissions, and it may be something that we have to see down the road. Players really start to adjust if the formats continue to allow this, but players like Val just going to capitalize on this. You know, several mushrooms in hand. It's not the greatest, place to be in first place, but it's a good start to give yourself a little boost on a long map like this.
Val makes their way up with all those mushrooms, now entering into Big Donut here. Going to be going around Big Donut to head out the western exit here. But right now, it's Val, Squash, and Liam making up the top three. Squash going to contend for that lead, but now here comes the first blue shell of the game, and Val is the unfortunate recipient. Ember making their way up as well. Again, Ember all the way in the back here. William Prix right behind him. So the top two in our standings are currently 6th and 7th in standings, respectively.
I mean, I wonder if they're trying to... I hate you for that. No one saw anything, but I hate him for that. He knows what he did. I have to imagine maybe we're wondering if maybe trying to smuggle up items is the new play here. Great steal from Super Racer just to kind of take those mushrooms out of William Prix's hands. But I do wonder if that's maybe part of the plan here. We still haven't quite entered into the fortress, but this is that last chance to really get good power items coming in, so I wonder if that's maybe a part of the plan.
We'll see. There are not a lot of off-road shortcuts on Airship Fortress. In fact, there are 0. So there's only one toward the end of the track. So really, it's a risky move to have any sort of mushrooms because there's a chance they could get stolen before you're even able to use them on an off-road shortcut here. Squash, William Prix, Super Racer. That is the top 3 as we head here into Airship Fortress. We'll have to see if it remains that case as we make our way onto the gliders. And Super Racer is catching up to Squash. Something tells me Squash doesn't have enough coins. And in fact, they don't have enough room on the track. They get bumped off of the rail. And I believe William
missed.
William stays on. Just barely able to stay on. Just a little bit of communication. But Super Racer is neck and neck with them right now. These two Toadettes are racing it out for this win.
Yeah, there's pom-poms flying everywhere. And the question is who's going to come out on top. And I think the deeper question is who knows where they can get all those small boosts from the jumps. And right now it looks like Williams kind of minute, but this tower down is a very big drift important section, so we'll see where this plays out.
William has 1 mushroom. Super Racer has 2. 1 mushroom going to be used here in the tower. Super Racer takes that early drift, trying to go for the early move. William throws the feather, goes right onto the rail, takes the win away. Super Racer going to settle for second, and Ember, again, second in the standings, all the way back to second to last in the race.
I mean, the intermissions really do give you anything, Bowsy. It's the thing about Mario Kart. You can be right in the front and then immediately get sent to the back. But with 2 players at the 20 and William up there at first in the 30, we are starting to see now as we round the halfway mark of this event, everything's starting to shape out a little bit. So we're getting an idea of how it goes. And it's still William Prix as enemy number 1. We have to figure out what it takes to put this man's off his balance because he is just proving right now to be too good.
What I think is interesting is that when we went into the last one, it seemed William Prix was mostly toward the front of the pack. But in this one, William Prix got knocked out very early and then was able to make their way back up to the front with those power items. So is the problem that we're letting William Prix get away with too much and then not taking advantage of it on the intermissions? So we'll have to see. We'll have to see what the move is going to be here. It looks like we're going to be heading over to a circuit track with DK Pass as our next selection, unless someone decided to go for an intermission. Nope, not the case. DK Pass, normal circuit, 3 laps.
That's a nice change. I'm sure many of our more dedicated players are happy to see just a standard course, especially one that they probably play a lot of. And I think that just given the, just the twist and turns of this, there's a lot of places you'll see lots of quick jumps, you'll see lots of little shortcuts, lots of ways to get speed on this track. So watch out for it in those top 3 because they will be vying for every single jump and pounce they can get.
I talked about William Prix smuggling in the last race, and then I see him burn out at the beginning of this race. We'll see if that plays into effect here as we make our way over through DK Pass. Super Racer currently with the lead, making their way up through the tight corners. Has to be careful about that still barrel, though, but is going to be going right on the wall with a beautiful wall ride right up to the top of the hairpin. That is one of the more well-known shortcuts there. I believe William Prix took one of the other ones, which is that you go on the wall before that and then ride up. So we'll see if it plays into factor here. Super Racer now challenging William Prix, but William Prix going to get hit by that red shell, so they're going to be falling back a little bit here. Super Racer maintains the lead. I'm pretty sure now everyone's just targeting William. I'm pretty sure I've seen maybe 2 red shells into William so far this race, while Super Racer is just trying to run away with the win.
I mean, look, if you make yourself public enemy number 1 like that by taking an aggressive lead in the points, you kind of earned that. Not to say that's a bad thing, but William just trying to make their job a little bit harder to be the 2-time champion here in the Cup Series. But still a lot to go. Coins now a few, and Liam going for the wall jump. Great post jump into that to cut in their way. That's, again, one of those small shortcuts that you just kind of have to know when to utilize.
Yeah, it's going to be Liam making their way toward the back here. Val trying to catch up now. Is going to throw that red shell out to Super Racer, but there was protection there for the Toadette in number 1 position. We'll see if that remains the same as Squash barely able to dodge that Super Horn coming out. Now triple red shells in second place. Super Racer in a world of hurt. He's going to have to save one of them here to try and keep themselves alive. He's going to drag out Super Racer there on that section, and all that work goes to absolutely nothing. They get hit by the blue shell, and William Prix takes the lead on the final lap of DK Pass.
Still time to do that, though, but with William back in the place,
and
he smuggled up some of those items. Yeah, Golden Mushroom in hand. He smuggled up those items pretty well. And they take the wall up and over, and that's a good shortcut. Cuts off so much time and puts the space between. Nothing. I would expect nothing better from the leader.
William Prix now running away with that Golden Mushroom in hand. Ember trying to catch up here with this Mega Mushroom, but the only thing that's going to stop William right now is a triple banana or a triple red shell. Trip Banana is not going to be enough here. Squash is going to try to catch up here to Ember to try and stop that second place Colder right now, but Ember currently in a very comfortable position. You see Super Razor right there, has Star in hand, triple green shells as well. They are angry right now, but are not going to be able to take that cut as they would have hoped. It's going to be Ember getting hit by the blue shell. The lightning bolt comes maybe a little bit too late for everyone else. Super Racer going to have to settle for 5th there. Squash 2nd, Ember 3rd, Val 4th.
That was actually really late. Both that blue shell and the shock were both very, very late in the series. I wonder if people were just trying to hold on to them maybe even, because it feels like just the convenience of trying to throw those out at the same time. Maybe we were holding for as late as we could get them. I don't know that we can keep doing that, Bowsy, though. I feel like we need to take advantage of them when we can get them. There's only so much time we can use to kind of get our positioning back with them.
Yeah, definitely. It's going to be difficult to see what the move is going to be here moving forward on these sort of tracks. But for now, William Prix has a 10-point advantage over both Squash and Ember, who take up the top 3 right now. So we'll have to see what the track selection is going to be here. We've already proven that even if William Prix starts in the back, he blew out at the beginning of the race and made his way up to 3rd with that Golden Mushroom. Anything goes at this point.
Yeah,
so Super Racer is going to try to select Sky High Sunday here, and we'll see what the track selection is going to be. Looks like we're going to be heading over to Acorn Heights for our next race.
This is just another one of those maps, Bowsy, that I feel like anybody who's put an extensive amount of time in this game, anybody who's learned the shortcuts, like, you're just happy to see this. Like, I want to say less than half a year ago, we were innovating on this course. We were looking for those shortcuts. We were looking for the different rails to jump. So this is another one of those ones that I feel like favors, I don't want to say the professionals in the room, but it really does kind of give an advantage to those who are, trying to perfect the craft of this. So a great map for everybody who's been really grinding this game.
So we'll see who's going to be able to grind here. The big thing is going to be those vine shortcuts, as well as hitting all those cuts properly here. Acorn Heights, a very technical track, similar in kind to Toad's Factory, where it's a very linear shortcut track where it's very easy to predict all these shortcuts, but you have to hit them all perfectly in this case. Squash and Ember making up the top 2. 5 mushrooms between both of them. Make that 4, make that 3, as Ember's trying to catch up with the rest. Now Super Gamer making their presence known as well here in this top path.
It's hard to say, Bowsy, though, because like you said, if you know the shortcuts, if you get them, if you can make them work, it changes everything. So it's really hard to say if anything in lap 1 really makes too much of a difference. It's kind of hard to tell. but I do see one unfortunate soul towards the back, and this is kind of the way of the Mario Kart.
Unfortunately, yes. It's going to be Super Gamer and Squash fighting out here in the top. Scoot, unfortunately, not repping it right now. Really hoping it was Mario Kart 8 Deluxe with the Mr. Scooty coming out here to help them out. But right now, the top three, William Cree's not in it. But that, again, that could just be a false herring right now. Because, again, we saw William Cree in the back on that last race. And speak of the devil, there he is right now, waiting for William to throw that red shell before they move. Ember going to try to take that Mega Mushroom, but doesn't make it work here as we head into the final lap right now. And William Cree is all the way up to second place. They are contesting this lead quickly here, Solov.
Yeah, managed to jump and get, again, a little bit of those places, but with Squash still leading the way. A little bit of a gap there right between William. William takes the draft right behind him, and that puts him in the way. Going to have to use these items effectively. Probably looking to trade him out, but that sounds like a fall.
Got knocked off.
That's
he got knocked off. William Cree off the map, now down to second place. Doesn't really have anything except a bomb and a red shell, so could really throw off Squash's game, because I think last I saw Squash had a feather in hand.
Yeah,
that's exactly what they're going to do to dodge it, but again, that slows you down so much. The feather doesn't give you an automatic trick.
Oh, what a
trick. You see
trick.
the tricks coming out from William Cree off the post, on the HUD, all the way back to the lead yet again. Val has the opportunity to stop this, but it looks like they're just going to be protecting for that second place right now. As I say that, though, they lost the red shell. William has no protection. Ember's going to be taking the lead. So Super Gamer, so's Val. William Cree getting hit right before they cross the line. Going to be finishing the race in fourth place, though, just barely salvaging a top 5 spot here, or a top half spot in this case. But Ember, Super Gamer, and Val making their way past and closing that gap down to 6 points between William and second place.
It's really funny, Bowsy. In the Splatoon world, there's a joke and a truth to the fact that when you play Turf War, the last 30 seconds matters. It's like the only part of the game that matters. And we're kind of seeing shades of that here in Mario Kart. It's very fascinating. The last lap, the last quarter, the last eighth of the kart, really is there's really kind of shaking everything up. It's really coming down to who holds on to everything as late as they can, who is saving their resources and using their, well, I'm just going to call them bomb items, not necessarily the bomb, but like their high-value items. Who's using them later, who's saving them for the last moment. It's really interesting to see how quickly in the last instance these games change. Well,
congratulations to Val for getting that Peach medallion that they probably didn't even know was there. It looks like we're going to be heading over to our next track, and I believe it's going to be an intermission over to Boo Cinema. So one lap around Boo Cinema, we're taking the path over there. So this is where things get interesting, because Boo Cinema, again, a very front-heavy circuit track. Now you're doing an intermission, which can be very favorable sometimes to baggers, so we'll see who's going to get the better end of Boo Cinema here as we make our way from Acorn Heights to the cinema.
I think I just immediately saw someone took a header there.
I believe that might have been Squash.
Yeah, I think that might have been Squash, just immediately forced out. And, well, I mean, like you just said, bagging does help a little bit, but not necessarily, as those first items are still in play going around these first corners, and it is a long way to the cinema. Hopefully they're going to see Spider-Man, because I've heard nothing but great things about it.
I have as well. Marvel movies not my kind of thing, but still we'll have to see what the movie they're going to be seeing at the end of the day. Super Racer does unfortunately get one of their mushrooms stolen. The good news is that's not hard off-road, so they are able to recover and keep that lead for themselves, but it's been the story of people going from the back to the front here. Ember currently in last place with 2 items that can dodge a shot.
See, that's so hard, because in my mind, I'm like, I need to use one of those to get a little bit of spacing. I want to try to get a little, I want to get a 7th. But at the same time, you're about halfway through the intermission, and these are items that in the last bit of the cinema lap course can just win you it. So it's a deep question for them to have to deal with.
William Cree currently in 5th place. Going to be getting a golden mushroom here as they throw that gold shell forward. Liam currently taking the lead here with Super Racer right on their tail. Red shell going to be thrown out to Super Racer, forcing them to use one of those triple mushrooms here. But it's going to be a matter of who's going to be able to perfect these items here on this boardwalk, because, again, we're very close to the cinema. In fact, the cinema is within our sights right now, so we'll have to see who has been saving their items the best, who's going to be able to make their way up to the front, and if it's going to be William Cree or not, because right now William's in 2nd place, no items to the name, just trying to run their way back up naturally here to the rest of the pack.
Just raw racing skills.
Golden
Did get
mushroom.
a gold shroom, and that is huge.
He held on to that golden mushroom through the entirety of that lap, so he made his way up naturally from 5th all the way to 2nd place. That is insane from William Cree, but now you're in the cinema and you have no items to your name, so this is a risky play from William indeed. They have to try and make it over to the 2nd item box and hope that nothing happens behind them.
They really need to end up with a defensive item there. There is enough spacing that they could eat maybe a green shell or a red shell, but not a lot. Super Racer in that just behind a bomb and a red shell is enough. Bomb goes wide, does manage to defend the 2nd place spot, but that may not be enough, Bowsy.
No, it probably is not right now. Super Racer getting hit by these triple red shells as well here as they may try to make their way up. Squash is going to try to go for the Desperation Red Show onto William Prix, but it might not be enough here. Super Racer falling down in the pack to everyone who had those mushrooms. Just an unfortunate circumstance. Ember, however, does take second, so they still are within striking range of William Prix here. But still not the situation you were looking for if you were some of the racers like Squash or Super Racer who are just trying to find their way to the front. But right now, it's an 8-point gap between William and Ember for the lead. 6 points then back to Squash.
Still fairly close among the top four. Our unfortunate friends down towards the bottom of the list. Just a little bit more of a struggle. It's pretty safe to conclude as we round into the bottom, the back quarter of the races here. It's pretty safe to assume that they are not going to be doing too well, but we do remember, we talked about a little bit earlier, there is the bonus segment at the end, so there is still a chance to maybe adjust a little bit, get a little more points, and maybe kind of pull yourself up out of that, second to 4 to 5 and 5th to 6th. It is, winning that knockout does get you 60% of your score bonus. So it sounds crazy. It really is. This knockout course can change everything, but that's still a little bit of ways to go.
Yeah, we'll see how that knockout tour is going to affect the gameplay here as we head over now to Dandelion Depths from Boost Cinema. So
convenient.
Definitely interesting to see all these sort of intermission courses being picked here as we make our way over to the boardwalk, over to the highway. William Prix getting hit by that trip banana early means they have an opportunity to really go for those sort of power items in the back again.
It's like we kind of talked about, are a lot of these players playing intermissions? Not necessarily. This is still kind of a Wild West in regards to, the map plus the new changes here. A lot of those power items get used immediately to try to hold these tracks, but still a long way to go amongst it. Val holding on to the triple shroom and the triple bananas. So a lot of firepower, a lot of defense, and a lot of ability to catch up. Just kind of have to play it smooth and play it safe, because you cannot afford to fall behind.
Squash is in 4th place. William Prix making their way back up here with those triple mushrooms, just trying to make their way to the front of the pack here. Has that boomerang, going to be hitting William immediately. That's a good call. That's the man that you're chasing right now. You might as well just get rid of their defense here. But all the damage coming into a lot of other drivers as well. Super Racer currently is in the lead. We'll see what their move is going to be here with the item pull. But right now, it's a solid item selection here as they're making their way close to Dandelion Depths at the end of that hill.
I do think a lot of these front runners, though, are low on coins, Bowsy. You may not even think of much about it, but it is one of those small mechanics that gives you a little bit more top speed, a little bit more go as you get into the end of it. So a lot of these smaller players, you can see it. William Prix is building up to that max, has been kind of slowly keeping an eye on that in the downtime. It's as we get into the actual course itself, it's going to be important.
Yeah, we'll have to see if anyone's able to build up those last-minute coins here. It is worth noting the most important coins are the first and the last coins, so we'll have to see who's able to get that. Right now, Scoot has the most coins in the field, 15 right now, making their way up with that Mega Mushroom. Now trying to make their way into Dandelion Depths here. Val right now contesting second. Scoot, that's off-road. I hate to break that to you, but still trying to get any sort of momentum here as we begin the final lap on Dandelion Depths. And this is another track which doesn't really allow for a lot of those technical shortcuts. You kind of need to be on the top, and like I say that, William's right at the top of the field. That's
where he's used to being, so there's going to come down to just racing fundamentals, keeping your line straight, making sure you have it. You're going to send the lightning. Ember doesn't choose to send the bullet. Great read into the shortcut to send the bullet, catapulting himself in a second. Question is, does William avoid it?
We'll have to see if William's able to keep themselves strong here. Ember right behind him right now, has triple bananas right now, but isn't able to really catch up. William is just running away with it right now. The only thing that could catch William off guard is this final item set. Definitely not going to be able to pull a mushroom here. Is going to try to backspam that green shell to stop Ember in his tracks. Ember tries to throw the green shell forward, doesn't land on anything, but this final cut could make the difference. Ember with a mushroom, William with nothing. Here comes Ember, tight on the corner, makes it work perfectly, and takes the win away from William Prix on Dandelion Depths.
I'm seeing William across the room shaking his head, nodding his head. Yep, that well played. Just acknowledge when you don't have the items, if you spend it a little too early, sometimes that's what costs you. Thankfully, Williams at 60 points in the top of the board still has a little bit of breathing room. But that breathing room is getting a little bit tighter as it comes in. If William wants to take this and be the two-time champion, the back-to-back king has to play this out smart.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, 6 points right now, that is a big difference, especially if you think about the knockout tour tournament. So everything has to really work out perfectly here for William Prix. So we'll have to see how the rest of this how the rest of this Grand Prix takes them, because anything can happen here. We've already seen it. We've seen that lightning bolt come out. That was, I think, probably the the first impactful lightning bolt of this Grand Prix, and Ember used it perfectly. Perfect lightning bolt usage. Use the bullet bill to use the shortcut to be able to get more distance. So we'll see if it plays dividends here as we head over now to probably one of the most technical tracks in the entire game. That is Bowser's Castle.
I think Bowser's Castle, though, Bowser has historically been exactly that. Very technical, very much a skill check as to, do you have your knowledge? Are you running your lines light? Are you trying to get a little greedy and cut your lines a little close? Are you trying to cut corners a little too much? So I do like this. I do think this is going to be one that's going to really kind of test even some of our well-meant players, and we'll see Ember go for, nope, not quite able to hit.
Doesn't get it, unfortunately. William Cree is going to try to go for the hop. Unable to hit it, though. That's going to be devastating. Now falling back in the pack as a result of that. Does still spawn in second place, though, so they're still ahead of literally everybody else who didn't attempt that cut. That just shows how impactful that cut is here. And Super Racer, yeah, that's
not happening, bro.
No, you can't recover from that, unfortunately. That glider's not going to be able to behind you. Squash,
going off.
I did not know you could go through the mouth of that Bowser. That feels like that should be a
Yo, new tech just dropped Bowser right here.
New tech just dropped. Mouth percentage, I guess. But no, Squash currently in third place, making their way up into the top 3. William Cree currently leading with triple bananas to their name.
I don't know if this was Squash's map, but if it was, that would make total sense to me. Like, Squash clearly knew that. William Cree gonna likely go for that shortcut again. This is like a known entity, and like we kind of saw there, even if you miss, it does put you, because of where the hitboxes fall, it is just like kind of faster just to take the L and then just get placed on the other side. It's kind of sad, but it is one of those things that might be true.
As we make our way up to the top here, William Cree actually going to dodge the blue shell by backing up. Blue shell is going to be completely irrelevant here, but Squash now in the lead. So it's all going to come a matter of these shortcuts. So far, it's been basically no one has hit the shortcuts perfectly. As Squash makes that shortcut perfectly that time, no feather necessary. So we'll see how Squash is able to hold on to this. It all comes down to these shortcuts, and the item play could be huge here. A Kamek could completely ruin your... Oh, that's just...
tragic.
That is the textbook definition of tragic here. Bomb's going to come out from William Cree. Unfortunately, it's not a bomb from Mario Kart 8 Deluxe. It doesn't blow up on single 5-mile radius from the closest person. So it all comes down to this final lap. Who's going to hit these cuts? Who's going to make it work? Squash goes for it. Miss it.
That's
no,
huge.
they both hit it. Squash and William Cree both hit the cut. They're both in contention. The bomb snipe from William Cree almost hits Squash. But now Squash, no protection, trying to keep themselves alive, has protection at the front. Now it comes down to this last item set.
That's deep. That's too deep.
Way too deep. Gets hit by the lava, throws himself off the track. Now William Cree in position to take this win away here on Bowser's Castle. Ember in second, though. They have a chance to catch up. It all comes down to this final item set. Are they going to be able to find anything to negate them? One red shell and a single coin to the name. Is it going to be enough? Unfortunately not. It looks like they're just defending for second place, and at the end of the day, the red shell gets stolen anyway. Good glider usage to negate that lightning bolt, but going to get hit by Super Racer at the end. Ouch.
This was nothing but heartbreak across the board. There were so many moments of just tragedy here.
Can we also point out that the red shell that Ember got hit by was the one that was stolen from him as well?
Yeah.
Shows that the boo can sometimes be one of the best items in the game, and you wouldn't even know it until the second it hits you. Literally.
Yeah. I mean, that's just Mario Kart, baby. That's just, you never know what's going to be impactful. Previous round, we just saw a singular mushroom be the most important item separating first and second. Here it's a boo. This game is unpredictable. As much as you could train for it, as much as you could prep, even a player like Squash who had some of the dopest, that was the dopest shortcuts I've ever seen. I know we've been innovating on this map. That was a dope run, and unfortunately just missed it and just paid the penalty for it.
Yeah, that's unfortunate. You got to take those risks sometimes when you're playing against these professionals. Take the risk and try to make it work at the end of the day. So we'll see what the move is going to be here as we head over to Cheap Cheap Falls. This is another one of those tracks. This is where the famous Tarzan strategy came into play, where you jump across the trees instead of going through the river. So we'll see if anyone here has been able to master it. But the big famous number is 10. It's a 10-point difference between William Cree and Ember right now. 11th race of 16. We're already halfway through this. We're already over halfway through this right now. So we are flying through this, and we already see half of the field already burn out at the start. They know something we don't.
I mean, this does feel like kind of a sandbaggy place. You can look at the middle there and the where it kind of opens up quite a bit. A lot of those shells will get value even if you just send green shells forward. So we'll have to see if maybe we're just going to try to move and play into those wider segments, because in the meantime, it's a tricky course. You have to keep these corners tight.
Val currently in second place. Right now, it's Super Racer up at the top. Liam making their way up as well. But again, that big question comes. Who's taking the Tarzan strat? Is anyone going for that sort of strat? Doesn't look like it right now. If anyone, William Prix was the one to hit it. Right now, Squash making their way up in 5th place. Going to be going for the double boxes here as they make their way to a wide rotation. Gets hit by the red, but has the mushrooms to recover on that shortcut. Is now William Prix up to 2nd place here, chasing down the bumper of Super Racer.
These two have been neck and neck on several of the races, and it's very interesting to watch them go back and forth. These Toadettes dueling for best. Straight onto the rail, a great grind for Super Racer. Again, these little bumps, every little jump, every little trick matters when you're at this level, especially this late in the game. So Scoop trying to make any sort of dent here is so big with that.
William Prix doesn't hit the exact Tarzan strat, but tries to go for a modified version, just trying to keep themselves off of the river right now, because that river, it is running in your direction, but water is significantly worse in this game. Far less handling, probably a little bit lower speed. It's just very difficult to navigate across the rivers here. Squash has triple reds, though. They can contest this lead that William Prix currently has, even if a little bit here. Let's see if it comes to
I don't know about that,
here.
Bowsy.
I mean,
look at how far this man's is. This man's is a whole length ahead.
He is definitely a full straightaway ahead, so it could mean nothing. We probably need a lightning bolt at this rate to equalize the score here, but no, so far, nothing has come of yet as we head into the final lap. Squash going to throw the bomb right on the edge of that walkway, trying to stop anyone from making it. William Prix with the Tarzan strat, throwing themselves all the way across the street, all the way across the trees, saving a video as well, just for the funnies. You know, has that time, has the sort of ability to say, like, yeah, I'm the best. Just showing it, going in the video, pop the camera out, make sure to subscribe. As Val made this bullet bill on that final quarter, going to try to gain some spots, but again, the bullet bill takes that wide angle. So,
wow!
The end.
The flex has been ruined.
Did William Prix try to just stop at the front? And
I don't know what happened
hit?
there. I don't really know what
Something happened
happened
to William Prix. I saw them take a video of it, so I need to see that video evidence there. But William Prix,
man.
Yeah, that. Wow. Okay, so Squash takes the win. William Prix now 13 points ahead of Ember right now in the standings. So still a very, very respectable lead, but could have been so much more.
That's a redemption for Squash from the previous map, having to try to go back and then try to, really getting the first place they should have been owed. William Prix just off screen, by the way, is going back to show off that hit that's strat perfect. Just like can't believe it.
I think I might have seen what happened. I think I think William Prix had a blue shell in first, but I could be wrong.
Oh, that could do it. Yeah, and if it hit.
And then I think he got ghosted. So
yeah.
I'd have to watch the clips that William Prix currently has on his Switch to see exactly what happened here.
Very true. Very correct, actually. Turns out Karma is the one true winner of all of us.
Karma wins in any Mario Kart tournament. As we head over to Sky High Sunday now, we got to ease it off. We had a very we had a very rough Chief Falls. It's time to go get some ice cream.
Yeah, look, I think after a moment like that, you could use a scoop, and this would be the best place to get it. Don't let the symmetry of the course kind of play through you. You might look at this and think, well, there's no path slightly better, but there's absolutely small moments, small divisions where you have to kind of hit the rails right. You have to kind of hit things the letter, and you do have to use these divisions to your advantage, and you have to play the center too. You have to know when your items give you that advantage to get a little shortcut. Looks like most of everybody hit that center cut though.
Yep, it's Super Racer.
Where are we going, baby?
He's going exactly
That's crazy.
That sort of advantage. Wall riding on the inside of the corner. Yes, that is a faster maneuver. You just got to be careful with it though, because if you go a little bit too low, you ain't going to recover from that. William Prix going to take this rail as well, saying, I don't want that glider. No, thank you. I have the mushrooms. The blue shell comes out, and unfortunately Squash didn't have any mushrooms for that, so they're going to be getting hit by that and falling down in the pack here. But yeah, Sky High Sunday, again, simple in look, complex in design. It definitely can play itself to a very complex sort of strategy. And William Prix, I mean, come on. At this point, what do you do to stop this man?
I mean, at this point, you fight for second place because he's in first with a bunch of shells there. He's going to make this look so easy. Dang. This is the one thing I respect about these players. They just understand how to use the individuality of these characters, the courses, to their advantage.
Going to be the final lap starting here on Sky High Sunday. Ember, again, the closest person to William Prix right now in the points, trying to hold on to the second place right now. The only thing that could stop William Prix right now is a blue shell. So we'll see if one does come out at any point on this lap. We already did see one on lap number 1. But we'll have to see with the reduced item rate that came into effect a couple months ago. We'll see if a second one comes up. Squash, however, could actually change this entire game. Has the boot. Do they steal that triple red shell? And they got the blue shell. The triple red and the blue shell. Does William Cree have enough time to run out that blue shell? Doesn't look like it. They're going to be able to hit the grunt force. But the question is, do they have enough time? Gonna get hit by the red shell. Gonna trying to run out as fast as they can. They are Lightning McQueen right now with no tires, and they're just barely gonna be able to come out on top. William Cree first. Squash takes up second with such a tense ending here to Sky High Sunday.
All right, we need to start really considering the bonus round, Bowsy, because right now William is at 81 and at 60% for first place. 60, you know, I'm not a math guy. I count to 4 for a living. But 60% of, you know, like 60, that's like a pretty big number. That's a decent chunk of points, and that maybe doesn't give you first place, but it definitely pulls you into second, into third. And, you know, it really does pull you up the length. So I think the name of the game right now for most of these players is William Cree's got this. Let's just let him fight for first place. Let's keep our fighting for second and beyond, and let's just kind of prepare for that bonus round.
I think the big thing about the bonus round is, again, you mentioned 60 points is going to be a lot when you do 60%, but you also got to consider the gap. If the gap is big enough, William Cree has to finish William Cree can finish in a worse position. So I think at the same time, you need to consider the fact that you still are chasing William Cree at the end of the day. It's just a matter of how much can you catch up to William Cree. You need to try and reduce this points lead, because right now it's a 17-point gap between William Cree and the two people in second place. If you can reduce that to, say, 10 or so, you have a better chance than if William Cree gets up to a 20-plus point advantage. As we begin this next race here, race number 13, it's the final 4 stretch of the normal Grand Prix round. It's going to be Sky High Sunday to Wario Shipyard.
We're slowing up there to try to get a little bit of an item differential. Unfortunately, we'll get a mushroom for these struggles. So again, you know, playing back, building up your power items for the last bit of this while then using your fundamentals to get back up is the key in this. Not a lot of variation, mostly a straight line. This kind of, you know, you'll see it on the mini-map. You'll see these racers do it. It just comes down to how are you drifting, how close and tight are your lines, and what are you holding on to going into the last stretch.
And one of the big things that we mentioned, of course, water being much slower. Get ready for 99% water starting now. Yeah. So you have to be careful about that. You're going to be in the water for most of this. The best things are going to be those speed items. You're going to want the speed items to catch yourself up in water, as it's just difficult to manage the water here, and especially here, the off-road on the sections of ice on the sides of this track are off-road. So you have to be careful about that. And now you head into this section, huge waves, perfect opportunity for tricks. Now you're just making your way over to Wario Shipyard, where you're going to have more of these waves, just being able to jump off of them, but that can also mess up your lines in the crucial manners. Super Racer going to be using that mushroom here. Going to try to dodge the red shell a little bit too late on the feather. Does keep the momentum, though, so is still up in the front here. But as we head into Shipyard, it's all going to come down to who has the best items, who's been able to hard the best. And right now, William Cree, I don't want to say much, Sam, but it looks like William Cree is all prepared for whatever Wario Shipyard throws at them.
Yeah, I'd say going into this with a gold on the last corner is very good, but Super Racer does have quite the gap. This is a familiar position for William, but William's going to probably have to use that golden to really close the gap before they take any advantage. Great jump onto the pipe to kind of give themselves a catapult forward. Didn't quite get what they want to, so this golden mushroom is going to get used immediately instead.
Ember also has a golden mushroom as well. Super Racer, though, maintaining the lead as they head into the ship. It's all going to come down to this final corner. William Cree right there, but does not get any item. Gets a coin box. That's not going to help you in the long run. Ember going to get by the red shell as well. Now it's Super Gamer on the wide angle, trying to find their way to the front. But right now, Super Racer, they've been so close so many times. Their first place of the GP comes on Shipyard.
It feels like it's been forever. He's been racing so well. Second, third, and so long. Finally, well-deserved. Closing that gap a little bit more, like you said. It's still quite a ways out, as it's 85, 70, 69, and 58. The numbers are slowly separating, but look, any first place you can keep out of William Cree's hands just does damage. It's something. Even if it's second, even if it's third, just taking away any points makes your life so much better going into the bonus round.
And that's a big sort of thing. Again, it is 2 points, but that 2 points could make a big difference in the knockout tour. Granted, you are talking to William Cree, who last in the Winter Cup did get the win off of the knockout tour, so anything could happen here. As it looks like we might be going to Moo Moo Meadows. I don't know.
It's cow time, Bowsy.
It's cow time. It's cow time. Moo Moo Meadows time. This is probably going to be the normal circuit configuration as well. Sure enough. Normal circuit configuration, Moo Moo Meadows. We'll see how this goes here for race number 14, because it's really all coming down to these final couple of races.
And remember, you can't necessarily, redo any of those courses. If it shows up in a random that we've already seen, different story. But we're at a point where if you try to repick one we've already seen, it's a penalty, point penalty. No one wants that. And I do know that Moo Moo, this is a favorite track. This is a lot of players like this track. It's just, some might say good, honest Mario Kart. I don't know. I might be wrong about that.
I mean, it's good, honest, if you don't go for all the extended shortcuts. But
shh, Bowsy, we don't talk about those.
We don't talk about those yet. We'll see if anyone decides to go for the cow tipping strategy. We already see some players going for that sort of like hopping strategy on the islands. I believe that was Super Racer taking that sort of hop onto the islands here. Squash making their way up here with the star, going to be running over Scoot there as they make their way up to the top of the field, but looks like it's familiar territory at the top of the field. You see two Toadettes there. That's Super Racer and William Cree at the top. Val's going to be taking that lead, though, here on the Cheep, and is going to try to run away a little bit with it. William Cree right in their mirror, though.
Coming into lap 2, still fairly tight amongst the majority of the pod. Still coming to those power items now. William Cree with a feather. Not great. Will maybe enable a little bit of something, but we're going to start to see those items thin out, and we should start to see one of those kind of powerful items, a shock or a blue, make an appearance soon.
We'll see if that is the case here as Liam throws that red shell forward. Looks like he's going to be going for Super Racer, unfortunately. Not the target that they might have hoped for, but still the pack pretty close. William Cree down now to 6 after getting hit there, losing that feather as well. So it might come down to this final item set, these final couple of items here. Val's going to be able to get that double, get some protection, but has to use the banana immediately here. And again, you're seeing these power items come into play. Squash now in first, Ember in second. Scoot's going to use the lightning bolt, so everything is a clean reset here on the final lap of Moo Moo Meadows.
The star is a little bit of a boost, but a player like Scoot, this is just try to get as much as you can, play for your own pride. They are a little bit further down in the rankings, so any little bit you get. Oh, Squash! I saw that face, Toad. I'm also scared.
Yeah, that's the face who's begging for mercy. Ember, meanwhile, at the front. We've talked about this sort of dynamic. Ember and William Cree currently in 1-2. Val trying to catch up as well. William Cree does get hit right on the shortcut, but is trying to catch up here with his triple mushrooms. They are now right behind Ember right now.
Oh,
one good item can make it. The boomerang does get hit onto Ember, and William Cree goes for the shortcut, gets the feather, does not make it all the way though.
Squash?
Trying to make it to the line. Squash is going to take the right. Ember, William Cree just barely able to secure second place at the end of the day.
Bowsy, this is just that meme. Every part of that race in the last 30 seconds, I could not tell where we were going. I would have never bet Squash was coming out of the blue. I thought, man, that was unpredictable the last 15 seconds of that race. That's crazy. That's why I love this game. You can run a clean race, but in the last 30 seconds, everything just goes sideways for you.
And yeah, Ember especially was, again, we talked about 13 points up, but now it's Squash who's 14 points behind William Cree. So the gap a little bit extended there for William Cree, and you probably want Squash and Ember to be fighting here if you're William Cree. If those top two are fighting, then you have a good chance of being able to secure your stop there. Yeah, we have our second champion here in the tournament. That is RNG. So
I mean, look, that's the name of the game.
Yeah, you got to pray to RNG sometimes, or
really
else you're not going to be finding yourself in a lucky spot.
You really do. I mean, let's be real. That's a Mario Kart tradition. Say what you will about it. Say what you must. But like, some of it is RNG, but some of it is also how you play about it. And you know, you have to take the good with the bad. You take the both, and there you have Mario Kart World.
Exactly. As we head over now to our next track, Shy Guy Bazaar will be our second to last GP race. Another track that is known for its a very impressive technical skill. Let's see how many people decide to go for this right side rail at the start.
As I say,
not William Cree. They're burning out at the start. It's going to be Super Racer, however, taking that right side rail, going up to the top. You sacrifice your item usage here at that start by going over the strat, but it is monumentally faster as you see Super Racer making their way up here. Not going to be able to hit that rail, though, so that might be a little devastating here for their progress up to the front.
I'm going to make a bad pun here. It is, in fact, the whole new world if you make it up there.
Oh,
whole new world of Mario Kart up there. I know. Sorry, Bowsy. I had to make it. Someone needed to. But for players like Val, this isn't a whole new world up in the front, constantly chasing William Cree, who looks like they managed to catch the rail. But for a player like Ember, this is a bit different. They're not used to being this far back.
Yeah, Ember obviously trying to catch up here. Super Ace is going to get hit right before the glider. Thankfully, the good news is if you're slow heading into that glider, they now have buffed the acceleration on glider, so you can recover much faster here. Val, Liam, Squash, that is the top 3 right now. Liam currently has double red shells over in the back position, so they're going to be trying to pressure out Squash here a little bit, but you also got to be careful because William Cree is in this mix trying to catch their way up. In fact, there they are right there, up to second place, making their way up to the front. Val has a triple red shell of their own, getting rid of Liam here as they try to catch up to the front themselves. And William Cree drag bomb right in front of Squash. Do they able to hit them with that bomb, or are they going to have to sacrifice it? William going for it, drops the bomb, but Squash dodges.
Yeah, I was going to say that's a taunt. That's a you can't come near me. You're not going to touch me with this bomb active because you will take the front of it. But coming into last round here, I mean, this shortcut takes. Looks like nobody took it. We're going to just go for some good, honest racing.
William Cree took the cut on the right side. They're already making that advantage well known here, just taking that fast cut, making their way up, trying to take this advantage to the best of their ability, but this could also bite them at the end of the day. They do get that green shell to protect against the red shell, but we're heading into these final 2 item slots. Anything could happen. It's one final item slot to determine it all. Ember trying to catch up here with the double mushrooms. Again, Ember falling back, trying to gain some sort of momentum against William Cree right now. But again, William Cree, they just want to see that finish line at the end of the day. Ember's just going to try to protect here for second place. Looks like they're going to be able to secure it at the end of the day. That ice ball, not going to be any sort of problem. They'll be clearing that second place. And Squash, meanwhile, falling all the way back to 6.
Ooh, that's brutal.
That's going to be a big advantage here for William Cree in that case. Yep, their total has gone up to 21 points. Actually, no, 20 points.
20 points over.
Not what you want to see right now if you're Squash or Ember, who are both chasing down to try and negate in this knockout tour bracket.
Yeah, time is running out, and we will be coming around to the knockout bonus round. And like we had kind of alluded to, there are a lot of points on the line for that. William Cree actually, joking a little bit before the event, just saying, look, I support the knockout bonus. We might as well. That's how I got my victory. Maybe he doesn't even need it this time, Bowsy, and I think that's the scary thing. Just has such a lead from across the whole event. He doesn't even really need it. He can kind of go in and with maybe a sigh of relief.
Looks like Ember going to be picking Airship Fortress here. That is a duplicate pick, which would be hurtful for Ember. The good news is, not going to be.
Nope, this will be our last one. So we have one last shot on our traditional courses. It will be a
Mario Bros. Circuit.
Okay, look, it's fitting. An intermission, we've seen plenty of them. We've seen a lot of things shake up at this, but no better way to do it than literally chasing the finish line.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, this is also a very interesting intermission. If you know the Cloud Rally, for example, this is that second checkpoint of the Cloud Rally. And you see those giant turns like midway through. Yeah, there's a very good shortcut you can use. Right
I could see it. Look, I'm not a Mario Kart player. I could see where just like a triple mushroom just boosts you through the planet and cuts you right through. The question is, who got those items? I don't.
William Cree might have gotten some. Val's going to be making their way up here with the triple mushroom here. We are out of that 20-second window now, so William Cree is going to be putting normal first place items in first here. And you also have this Chaos car moving through here, just dropping items in its wake. You got to be careful about those bananas and bombs just littering all over the track here. But again, I mentioned that turn. There it is on the left-hand side. You can see the turn here on Will. Where that rock is where there's a huge mushroom shortcut. And if you have a mushroom or any sort of boost item like Squash currently has, you can just run right across this large
blue
patch
shell's
of
coming
dirt.
in too. That's so big.
Yeah, Val's going to get hit by that blue shell, so that's going to ruin their progress right now. Squash now inherits the lead, but the competition's still on. As evident, William is right there, ready for the taking, heading into the final section. This final lap on Mario Bros. Circuit could be the decider. A 20-point gap between William Cree and Squash. What do they do here heading into the final section? William Cree going to try to go for the trick. Does hit the tire, misses the ramp. Not what you want to see. Now you're stuck in the South Road and falling back fast.
A little bit of a gamble, but for a player like William, you're fine. You feel like maybe you're comfortable enough you can make it up down the road. You also have the points, so you're like a little maybe annoyed. Maybe you're trying to get a little bit of a flex there. But for Squash, this first place matters. You have to hold on to this. Hammer though in third, this could be detrimental.
If that hammer catches up to Squash, it's going to be a big move, but William Cree unable to land it. Squash going to take that right side. William's going to go for the tight. It's all going to come down to this final turn. Squash currently in the lead, trying to negate it to under the 20, and William Cree getting hit all in the off-road, falling all the way back to 7th place. Last place for William Cree. The least amount of points they could gain, and Squash just got the best present they ever could have gotten on race 16 of 16. At the end of the day, William Prix is going to have the most amount of points, but it's not as much as they were hoping for. My goodness.
I mean, fun fact, he did end up exactly on 100, Bowsy, so maybe that was just
Hey,
maybe I think that's the plan the whole way through.
You know,
just like, look,
100,
I want
yeah.
perfect. Let me get my perfect 100. Let me just go into this. We're going to calculate some numbers here because we do have the knockout rally still, so there's still at least one long race to go. And I believe you had said it's about a 20-point lead right now for first place.
It's about 13 points now with William Prix falling down to 7.
That's enough, actually. That means if William Prix has a bad run, falls out very early because we are going to use NPCs, this will be the full roster here. So if there's a very bad moment and William Prix falls out extremely early, this could cost him. I don't want to oversell this, on just principle. I don't want to do that. I'm an honest salesman. But there is a world where William Prix unfortunately just loses out.
We go back to the winter.
Yes.
When we had the Winter Cup. Awoken was running away with the lead. Looked like they were in prime position to win this tournament. And then the knockout tour section happened, and they were unable to get that win. They got knocked out before the final section, completely destroying their points multiplier. So it's all going to come down to this as we take a look at the standings.
11 points. That's
11,
even closer.
11 points. Reminder, it was 20 at the start of race 16. 20 points gone down to 11, with Ember in second place, 89 points, Squash 87, and Super Racer 71. So, I mean, I'm looking at this top 4 here, and I see any one of these people being able to upset the top if William Prix somehow messes up in this knockout tour.
Yeah, I just agree with you fully, Bowsy. This feels like one of those places where top 4 really does kind of still have a chance. I mean, I know fourth place was 70 points. It's a little bit further down. But if you're in fourth, you hit the first, and William Prix, just unfortunately eats it way too early, there's still a chance for you to, maybe if nothing else, sneak yourself up a level while bringing him down. So, the hype here is well deserved. This actually will make such a difference in the big number standing. Players are choosing their circuits. We do have the 2 of the newer ones on. So we'll also get to check to see who really did their homework too.
Yeah, I mean, one of the big things we didn't even mention, of course, Knockout Tour recently added now what is going to be 8 new Knockout Tour rallies. 2 have been released already. The Drill Rally, you already see 3 people choosing those, including William Prix. I'm not surprised about that because the ending track of the Drill Rally is Bowser's Castle. Yeah. So if you're going to pick that, if you want a track that you are good at in the skill department, you want the Drill Rally. So we'll have to see. We do see Cloud, Heart, and as well as the other new rally, the Boomerang Rally. But we're going to be going over to that Cloud Rally, kind of foreshadowing with that last Grand Prix race. We talked about, again, that section between Shy Guy Bazaar and Mario Circuit is one of those sections. So we'll see how it pans out here. The Cloud Rally, Airship Fortress to the Great Question Block Ruins. It's all for the score multiplier. Anything could happen. We've seen it happen before where the champion was decided by this knockout tour round. Let's see if it happens here today in the New England Summer Cup.
Gliding in nice and smooth. The chaos starting quickly in the way as players will vie for a little bit of position here. William Prix desperate to hold on to that, be the back-to-back champion here. Again, it's a long track. You only need it to make it about 4 or so at a time. And, smuggling items, not necessarily the greatest. You don't want to hold on to everything at every moment. So every little shortcut will count here. Val cuts it very close, but manages to get out. Very risky, but very well played off.
Now Val going to be making their way up to the top here. The rest of the pack trying to follow in tandem. They make their way out of Chain Chomp Desert, now make their way over to this this S-bend right before the Shy Guy Bazaar track. It's all going to come down to really this, and one of the big things as well is going to be this bridge up here. On the bridge railings, there are 3 question blocks. Well, that may not matter. Ember getting that star drop
so
is huge. Heading into this bridge section again, where there's a lot of coin opportunities. You have an opportunity to really make a difference, especially when all these chain chomps are currently blocking the main road.
Every little just difficulty will get in your way, including multiple of those high-value items. We should see several blue shells, several shocks as we go through this, and as we move into the second segment. Again, the technical portion of these tracks is going to really be at show here for these players.
William Prix gets hit, currently in 8th place, trying to make their way up. Again, William Prix just has to survive as long as possible right now. Doesn't have to finish in first, just has to survive and do a little bit better. They are going to be able to make the second checkpoint. Everyone looks like they are clear. Yep, everyone inside of the checkpoint 3-point radius, so we still have all 7 of our players here in this knockout tour portion. So we'll see as we head over to this next session. Again, we just saw this Section 1 race ago. We'll see how players are now going to be able to do this now that they know what this section looks like.
Yeah, we'll see again. There's one of the players taking advantage of that full mushroom that they've been holding on to, just getting a little bit of a shortcut leading behind the Squash. And that's kind of what it is. Squash will have to eat that. Great boost away and a great use of that. But, I mean, again, items will start to thin out here. We'll start to see more of those power items come into play. And William Prix just going to go ahead and dodge that, use those mushrooms to their advantage. Great read from our current leader.
Yeah, and I believe that was the triple mushroom from Squash that they ended up stealing here. So once again, now heading over to this section, a little bit of extra camels being added onto the road here as obstacles here, but it is worth noting 16th and above are the ones that go on here. Super Racer trying to make their way up. Again, 4th place right now for Super Racer, just trying to make their way up to the front of the pack. Very risky sort of read, trying to go for that wide angle, but does have the golden mushroom to take this angles or go through these sort of S-bends that you're going through here. It's going to come down to this final section. We're approaching onto Mario Bros. Circuit where this section does conclude, and right now, everyone seems to be in the safe haven. Scoot currently the farthest of all 7 of our competitors, but is still sitting pretty in 14th place. I say sitting pretty, but then gets hit by that Fire Flower, trying to just stay alive.
Hold.
Yep, they're going to be fine. No problem whatsoever. Scoot gets in. So once again, all 7 of our competitors are still in the running.
It's been a long, long road. Still plenty to go. Boo run from Val will get them something.
They do get a single banana peel, so that's all they're going to be able to get here.
Biggest shrug.
Yeah, that's. I mean, listen, Donkey Kong got to before you could. The boo can't be fast enough even for Donkey Kong.
That's true.
Ember currently in the back though does have a lot of mushrooms in their hands, so they are going to be able to try and make their way up to the front. This is where the race gets risky. 12th and above, and this is a very straight road. There are not a lot of very opportunities for shortcuts. Most of your shortcuts are going to come in the final track area. So it's all going to come down to who is able to make their running up to the front. Val trying to catch their way up, and there's a hectic bout of items right around them, but they're just barely able to avoid all of those.
It's worth noting, Bowsy, the pack's still fairly tight together. No one really able to run away with it. William Prix, our leader, still near the front, but really not able to do it. Ember falling dangerously low, though, as there's still a last quarter of the track. The Shock in hand has to make advantage of this. They have to kind of send this mushroom as quick as they can and then just send that Shock immediately if they're going to get value.
We'll have to see what the move is going to be. Usually on Knockout Tour, you wait until the final item set. There are a couple people in bullet bills, though, that you have to be careful about, but thankfully most of them are CPUs. Here we go, toward that final item set into Crown City. Shock comes out right before the item set, so not what many people would have hoped for, but it does mean the two people at the front, William Prix and Squash, did not get hit by that, and here comes a blue shell as well up toward the lead. Does William Prix have anything for it? Actually, no, they don't even need to worry about it. It's Super Racers getting worried about it, trying to run up to the top. There was a star dropped by that vending machine, so it looks like Super Racer should be in the clear. Unfortunately for Scoot, though, not the same. Cannot be said about them. They will be the first one eliminated from our Knockout Tour section here as we head now over from Crown City over to Faraway Oasis over the Crown Bridge. And I talked about very little shortcuts in the last one. Talk about no shortcuts on this one.
Nothing exciting to see here. Very straight line. It's just going to come down to your items, what you get, what you've been holding on to, and just basically, can you get any value off of drifts and the combination of these boosters? Very little grinding, so every kind of just straight line moment will matter here. Still a tight pack, Bowsy. Still time as we look to cut to the toppy.
We'll have to see who's going to be able to make advantage. And one of the big things about this section as well, again, I mentioned there are no shortcuts, but there is something that can be very, very impactful, and that is a truck. Yeah. Now, how would a truck be able to help, you may ask? Well, there is a special feature in Mario Kart World where you can ride on vehicles that you can find out in the wilderness, those being trucks, aircrafts, as well as helicopters. That truck, as you see there popping up on the right-hand side, is invincible. You are in that truck. You cannot get hit by anything for a short amount of time. None of our racers seem to realize that, except for Super Racer, who's going to go right for it here. So if there's a lightning bolt right now, yeah, Super Racer's fine. Blue shell, they're fine. Red shell, they're totally fine. There is absolutely no worry about that truck. It is the best thing you have to a shortcut because you can just accelerate so far with it. But right now, it looks like everyone's going to be saved. Val getting hit right at the end there. Just barely able to get there in 8th place. Everyone is still alive. We're heading into the next section. It means that we are guaranteed 2 people at least out as we head over to the Great Question Block Ruins.
Last leg coming around here. Again, cutting the top 4. Just again, it's kind of moment to moment here, Bowsy. So it's a combination of your drifting, your driving technicals, and what items are you getting from it? Because right now, even at 4th, Val doesn't necessarily have a ton of protection. Those triple shells are great for it, but you have to make sure you have somebody in your sights if you're going to take advantage of them. And I think that Super Racer is still just a little out of race.
One of the big things as well as we head into that last section here, as we head past the fences for what would be Dino Jungle, is that there's going to be some Patuis up here, and sometimes those Patuis could be handling some of the most important items of this. If one of them is holding a star, that is an instant go button that you need to get that as quickly as possible, because everyone is going to be vying for that star. We do see one here with a mushroom. Doesn't look like any of the Patuis did have a star, though, so that's out of the equation now. It just comes down to your final item usage heading into Great Question Block Ruins. Amber's going to be trying to use that golden mushroom to catch up here, but it's all going to come down to this final item usage and who's going to have the advantage heading into Great Question Block.
Liam's taking a great cut on there, pushing themselves. Can they clear 4, though? It doesn't look like it's going to be enough as a Super Racer in front of them. Doesn't look like it's enough, just keeping them on the line as we round this last corner, and we will start to see our cuts in a moment, Bowsy.
Last final section. It's this final straightaway up to the glider. The red shell is not going to hit Squash here. It all comes down to the final lap here on Great Question Block Ruins. Val right on the border, looking to try and catch up, but you see the top 4. They're all bunched up all together at the end there. It's going to be the final 4. Ember, Squash, Super Racer, and William Prix. The top 4 in our Grand Prix are the top 4 here on Great Question Block Ruins, and William Prix, to no one's surprise, is running away with it.
As I say, we hit Great Question Block, Bowsy, and we're just, I fear for everybody because this is a very technical course. All 4 of these players know exactly what they're doing. They know the shortcuts. They understand what needs to happen. This is the worst case scenario, I think.
Super Racer currently in the lead, though. They take the lead away, but William Prix is going to try to go for this shortcut. That big shortcut, avoiding these cloud bounces, could make the difference here. It all comes down to who has the items behind them. Super Racer with a super horn in hand. We saw them trialing a lot of these courses before. I don't think we saw them trialing Great Question Block Ruins, but indeed, they are the Super Racer at the end of our Knockout Tour section.
Look, that's a great sign. Even if you're Super Racer and it doesn't get you enough to clear 1, that's a great sign because, you know, we do have another knockout event coming up after this one, so we will get a little bit more. You know, it's a great warm-up for this, if nothing else. It'll be Super Racer, William, Ember, and Squash rounding out top 4, like you said, our top 4. And that will shake up our top 4 quite a bit, Bowsy. It may not maybe necessarily shake out first place, but it will kind of adjust that top 4 who's walking away here with a trophy that will eventually be made and given to them.
Yeah, I mean, the big thing is that when it comes to that sort of point standings, again, the top 3, the 2 people who are in the best contention were behind the person who was leading.
Yeah.
So if anything, there's a slight chance that we do see Super Racer taking home the trophy at the end of the day, but at the end of the day, it's probably going to be a very tight margin here.
Yeah.
Anything could happen. We have Dave right here on our right-hand side who's currently doing the number crunching, trying to get everything sorted here. But once we get those results, we will bring them up here. But overall, a very enticing tournament. William Prix was definitely the threat today. We'll see if he's able to take the 2nd trophy of the New England Cups.
It's like we said maybe an hour ago, Bowsy. The field might be small, but there is some incredible talent here, and they absolutely showed it off. William Prix, one of the top players in the U.S. Mario Kart circuit, absolutely well-deserved, leading many of these races, and probably likely taking this away too, Bowsy. I mean, if they do walk away and are the 2nd time Cup champion, I think it's well-deserved just with how they've played today.
Yeah, definitely. William Prix has shown that they can really excel in every aspect of Mario Kart world, being able to really contend for these sort of big wins. So it's going to be interesting to see when we come to New England Winter Cup 2027, if William Prix is going to keep that honor, or if someone's going to be stepping up to the plate, going to try to stop William Prix in their tracks before it all goes haywire. But definitely a star-studded performance for William Prix, no matter if he gets 1st or 2nd here. It's, again, all determined on that final results here at the end of the day. We're still waiting on the numbers here from Dave, but
it'll take a while.
It will probably take a little bit.
Look, that's way too many numbers for me to do, but I will say, like we had said, William Prix came out on, very likely to have come out on top, but every single one of these racers from top to bottom had an incredible showing. Even our last place player, you know, this is a hard field. I will never say anything bad about any of these players who step into plays. I couldn't even pretend to be nearly as good as any of these players are. So, you know what, like, just anybody, shout out to all the players here because they stepped into an incredible field of talent to try to contend, and I think it really does show you just what technical skill it takes to play this crazy children's racing game.
Yeah, definitely. It shows that sort of skill that it takes. Again, this is a game that has been out for 1 year.
Yeah,
and you're seeing all the strategies that everyone here has learned. It just shows how much commitment they have had for the past year to get these strategies in their hands and be able to make it work. So everyone here has worked their tailpipes off to get these sort of results that they've been hoping for, learn these strategies, become a professional in this game, and at the end of the day, it's working out for them. They're all here showing what they're made of at the end of the day.
It's been a long day, too. You don't realize how much 16 races really can take from you.
An hour and 30 minutes estimate here for the entire tournament. So you're talking a very long day with a lot of grueling sort of weight. So definitely a long day, but a lot of these players stuck through it to the end.
It really is a testament, like I said, to just all the incredible talent here, because from top to bottom, it's a tough place to be. We do have our numbers in, Bowsy.
We're in.
I'm sure. Get your surprise Pikachu faces ready. Here we are.
We'll see what the numbers are as we take a look at our final standings here for the New England Summer Cup regular Grand Prix. Keep in mind, we do have a knockout tournament right after this as well. And it's William Prix taking home the title with 155 points at the end of the day. You know, that seems fitting. You know, second place, 55% of your score goes over, and William Prix had a perfect 100, so that checked out perfectly. Ember coming home in second, Squash coming home in third, and unfortunately for Super Racer, 114, not enough to crack the top three, but still a very valiant effort coming out from Super Racer. Speaking of Val, fifth place, 83 points. Liam in sixth with 58. Scoot, unfortunately, 26 points to their name, but still an impressive feat from William Prix to take home the title in convincing fashion.
I would say I would expect nothing better from our two-time cup champion here. PlayEX, I mean, it's hard not to say much. Like, I don't want to – I said it earlier. You can't necessarily just look and say, oh, like, William Prix took the first couple of races. Obviously, it's going to be done. But when a player of that caliber steps up and obviously knows how they're doing – you gotta respect it. You gotta put some respect in the name. And right now, for a two-time champion, William Prix is the man to beat. Is our champion here in Massachusetts.
Yeah, definitely. What a performance from William Prix here in the free-for-all tournament. But we still have more tournaments to go. We still have our knockout tournament here in just a minute. So don't go anywhere, all of you. More Mario Kart World action here from One Up Games at the New England Summer Cup 2026 comes right up after the break.